Thanks to George Kirby, Eugenio Suarez, and JP Crawford, the Mariners didn't allow yesterday's bump in the road to snowball into something bigger. Our thoughts on the Mariners' 5-1 win over the Astros coming up here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Thursday, July 6, 2023. This is Trident Gonzalez and Colby Patnett for the Locked On Mariners postgame show, brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper Picks, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. Thank you so much for making us your first listen after the game. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you're part of the crew and rock with us every single day, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon. You now get a free 7-day trial to check out the show. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description of this episode. 5-1, the final score from Minute Maid Park. The Mariners take game one of this 4-game series with the Astros. We're going to talk George Kirby. We're going to talk Eugenio Suarez and the rest of this Mariners offense. But we need to start with Kirby, who was really good tonight. Quite a few hard hit balls given up. Might have gotten a little bit lucky. But overall, really nice night for Kirby, who easily could have threatened for a Maddox. He had 3 separate innings that needed just 6 pitches to get through. However, in the other 3 2/3 innings that he threw, he averaged about 20.4 pitches. So that's the story on that one. He also ends up giving up a run in the 7th, and that leads Scott Service to pull him in favor of Matt Brash, who limits the damage with a nasty slider to Bly Madras to end that threat. The Mariners get a relatively easy 5-1 win down in Houston. So Colby, it's obviously not an Astros lineup that is at full strength. No Yordan Alvarez, no Jose Altuve, but still a really talented Astros lineup. So how did Kirby get this thing done tonight?
Mostly luck. Gave up a ton of hard hits, and like so many balls almost left the yard. It was insane. But in actuality, what it appears George Kirby did is that he took the game plan that has been the most successful against him, which is be very aggressive early on fastballs. And he kind of turned it on its head a little bit. It was a right-handed heavy lineup for the Astros tonight. It was a very aggressive lineup for the Astros tonight. And Kirby's kind of response to that was to throw more sinkers and sliders than four-seamers and curveballs. So it appeared to be a very deliberate, pretty deliberate game plan on Kirby's part to throw a pitch that either ran into righties or away from them. Not a lot of pitches that have vertical movement tonight from Kirby, and that seems to me to be pretty intentional. He only had 6 whiffs in this entire game. So Houston was putting the ball in play, but they were being aggressive. 93 pitches, 48 swings, 15 called strikes. They were being super aggressive with Kirby, particularly on the two-seamer, and George was just fine with that, because when they were hitting the ball hard, they were mostly hitting it on the ground. And Seattle's defense is pretty good. Infield defense is pretty good when you have JP and Caballero up the middle. So yeah, it seemed like an intentional game plan on Kirby's part to just be around the zone, pound the zone with the fastball and use the slider as the second primary, not the four-seamer. So yeah, it was kind of a different way to dominate from Kirby. We've seen Kirby be able to rack up strikeouts and whiffs. Tonight he didn't, and that looked like it was mostly by design. And it was 44% two-seamer, 30% slider. I think that's intentional, and that's a counter punch to the right-handed heavy lineup that the Astros are kind of forced to run out there right now. So overall, it was a good night from George. We've seen him better, but anytime you go into Houston, you give up 1 run on 6 2/3 in that joke of a ballpark. It's a pretty good night, regardless of the lineup that you're facing. So overall, I would say that George was good, not great tonight, and it's a pretty good capper on what has been a really solid first half for George Kirby. And yeah, the important thing is he got through it. He's healthy, and now he can kind of reset in the All-Star weekend. We'll see if he pitches in the game. I don't know if he will or not, but it'll be nice. George essentially gets now more or less the next 10 days off before he has to start thinking about his next start. So good way to end the first half. And George, he was throwing pretty hard tonight. So that also a good sign.
Kirby's final line tonight: 6 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed, just 1 earned run, 1 walk. Kind of a BS call on that one, but whatever. 3 strikeouts on a big strikeout night for him. We've seen quite a few of those. Oh well. 9 hard hit balls, but still pretty efficient night for George. He finishes his all-star first half with an 8-7 record and 17 starts, 107 2/3 innings pitched, 102 hits allowed over that time, 37 earned runs, 7.44 Ks per 9, 0.84 walks per 9, 3.09 ERA, 3.30 FIP, 3.69. Nice xFIP. So good first half for Kirby, and hopefully a sign of things to come in the second half. All right, let's talk about this offense, which had a weird night, conflicting night. They scored 5 runs down in Houston. Could have been more, but good night for Eugenio Suarez. Good night for JP Crawford. We'll talk about that just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by Sleeper. Are you using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy baseball? I am. Want to times your money by 100? Sleeper is now offering up to a 100 times payout for up to 8 pick contests. Choose as many as 8 players that you like and pick more or less on your favorite baseball stats like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Get your picks right, you can win big. Making your picks is easy and takes only 30 seconds or less. And if you win, you can withdraw your payouts safe and quickly. Use promo code LOCKED ON and you'll get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 5-1 victory over the Houston Astros. Game 2 of the series is tomorrow night, and you can catch all the action on the Mariners hometown broadcast, SiriusXM via the SXM app. Colby, for a while, the Mariners had the Mariners offense had just 2 hits, but they were able to make them count. 2 home runs from Eugenio Suarez, JP Crawford. Gino adds a second home run a little later on in the game to add some insurance, a 420-foot bomb to left center field. Good to see those balls finally go over the wall for Gino. So good for him. Yeah. Thoughts on the offense tonight?
It was okay. Scoring 5 is always a good night, almost regardless of how you do it. But there still are missed opportunities up and down the lineup, and you're starting to see some guys, mainly Jose Caballero, really starting to kind of regress down to the mean, and it's tough to flip the lineup over tonight. Kelenic had a rough game again. Caballero obviously had a rough game. Mike Ford, after exploding on the 4th of July, back-to-back offers, actually gets ejected in this game. He should have been on first. It was a walk. It was ball 4, but it is what it is. And so, thankfully tonight it was the Gino show, and JP certainly helped out with his solo home run. But offense needs to be a little bit better, just up and down. You can't rely on these 2 home run games, and particularly tomorrow you're going up. The next 2 days you're going up against Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez. You're not going to just play home run derby with those arms. So you're going to have to, when you get the opportunities, you're going to have to get that hit to drive in multiple runs. And, Cal was able to get an RBI single today after, Gino blooped the double into center field. So offense was okay. Not a ton of hard hit balls, not, a ton of bad BABIP luck or anything like that. It was just okay. They did draw 4 walks, which is nice to see. But they struck out far too much, which is a reoccurring theme for this team. But hey, you know what? You hit 3 home runs, you score 5 runs. You really didn't get that many opportunities with guys in scoring position. But when you did, you failed, except for one time. But hey, at the end of the day, you scored 5 runs. So it's hard to say that this lineup or that this offense was bad tonight, because they put up 5. And if you put up 5 runs with your pitching staff, you're going to win a lot of games. So I think you have to say the offense was acceptable, but it needs to be a little bit better, especially in the next 2 days.
Mariners had 3, 5, 6, 8, 9 hard hit balls, but you mentioned the strikeouts, 11 strikeouts to just 4 walks. That's not a ratio that you want to see out of this offense, but one that we've seen far too often this first half. Nevertheless, though, don't want to focus too much on the negatives, because you did score 5 runs. And again, big night for Gino, big night for JP. JP was awesome tonight. Obviously, the rope that he hit over the right field wall, really impressive. He's already got 8 home runs this season. His career high is 9, so he's almost certain to break that, and then some, sooner rather than later. On top of that, he also, of course, as JP Crawford does, flash the letter. He made a really nice play in the bottom of the 9th to get Chas McCormick. Now, Colby, Chas McCormick tried to pull off an A-Rod. Tell us about that.
Yeah, cheater's going to cheat, whether it's to win the World Series or to try and not get thrown out at first base on July 6th. But you guys didn't see it, or you're wondering, there was some confusion about the great play that JP made. It took the umpire a while to make the call, and there was, McCormick kind of pointed back at France like he was trying to tell the umpire something, or whatever. So there was some confusion around that play. So maybe it went unnoticed by most people, but it was weird. It was weird looking, the play at first. I wasn't quite sure what it was, and then somebody posted a video that shows McCormick very clearly swatting at the glove of Ty France as he passes him, essentially trying to knock the glove out of position to catch the ball. It's clear as day. They zoom in on it. You can see it. This isn't one of those things like A-Rod argued he was running and he just naturally chopped it. Nope. He stuck his arm out, basically to try and clothesline Ty France's glove out of the way. It's a cheap play. It is cheating, regardless of what the Astros fans in the comments will tell us. Although the Mariners won today, so I doubt there's many of them in our comments tonight. So it's cheating. There's no way around it. That is cheating. You are attempting to stop the first baseman from catching a throw. That is cheating. They caught him. It's clear as day. I don't know if anybody in the media caught it. I don't know if anybody on the Mariners caught it. I'm assuming Ty France will tell them about it. What will the Mariners do? Probably nothing. They can't really afford to pick fights right now. But I bet there's a call made to the league office. I bet there is some, there should be a fine, because again, this isn't one of those things where you can be like, oh no, he was just, the way he was running, his motion, he extended his arm out and purposely knocked at Ty France's glove. He cheated, or he tried to, and he didn't even do it well. The Astros not cheating well. What? I know. Shocking. The Astros failing at, not getting caught cheating. Oh my God. That's so surprising, but it happened. I mean, you can see the video for yourself. It's on Twitter right now. Again, do I think anything will come from this? No, I think maybe you throw behind McCormick or something like that. But again, you can't really pick fights right now. You're a team that's just kind of starting to build momentum. You're facing a opponent that is damaged right now. And you have your hands full over the next 2 days again, because Brown and Framber are both having really good years. So yeah, you're kind of, I don't think anything major will come from this, but it's definitely cheating, and it's available for anybody to see. It's obvious for anybody who's basically not an Astros fan. I mean, if Julio Rodriguez had done the same thing, the Astros fans would be all up in our comments tonight, calling him a cheater and calling him to be suspended. But it wasn't Julio, it was McCormick, and it was dirty, and it's against the rules, and he'll probably get away with it, which is the unfortunate thing, because the Astros, they always get away with it. And that's just the way it is.
Somehow this is Scott Service's fault.
Yeah, just like it was Scott Service's fault when they hit Ty France.
Mm-hmm. And then
I can't believe
Eugenio
Scott
Suarez's
ordered.
head.
Yeah, I can't believe Scott ordered a hit on his own first baseman. Because Scott picks everything.
Damn you, Scott.
It's always Scott Service's fault.
You can't keep getting away with this. So yeah,
only the Astros get away with stuff.
It's a really, really funny that happened too, because like, I don't know, an inning or two beforehand, you and I were talking amongst ourselves and being like, yeah, Chas McCormick's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
We're actually praising him. We're like,
Yeah,
we
I like
really like Chas
McCormick.
McCormick. Yeah.
It's like a 115, 120 WRC plus guy. He plays a pretty good
Great
center
defense.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's starting to hit righties this year more than he ever has. You're like, yeah, this guy's pretty good. He's a pretty good player.
Hmm.
Well, screw you, Chas.
Whoops. Yeah, who's named Chaz with an S at the end? Like, who's named Chaz in
not
general?
Even a Z.
Yeah, like first off, in general, why would you name your child Chaz? But second of all, why is it with an S at the end instead of a Z? This is weird. Weirdo energy.
Chaz is his legal name, by the way. It's not Charles. It is Chas Kane McCormick.
Wow.
So
that is certainly a choice by his parents.
Boy, I tell you what, if the Orioles weren't trying to pick fights right now by their stupid King Felix Bautista thing, we would be going all in on Chaz right now, just because he's made himself an enemy. And you know what? Ty France has had enough collisions at first base to last him a lifetime. Yeah. So that's the other thing too, man. Like if he like knocks that glove over and the ball bounces off the glove and hits France in the eye, or if he actually just hits France or clips him or anything like that, Ty France could be on the IL. It's a dangerous play. McCormick should be punished for it. He's not going to be. Like, don't expect to see a suspension from Major League Baseball when you wake up tomorrow. It's not going to happen. And as far as I know, the Mariners haven't reacted to it or done anything about it. So they'll probably just let it go. But at the end of the day, never forget Chas McCormick, filthy cheater. Bad one, but a filthy cheater nonetheless.
You're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 5-1 victory over the Houston Astros. Again, game 2 of the series. Tomorrow, you can catch all the action on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. So in that game, we've got Luis Castillo versus Hunter Brown. 10 home runs over Castillo's last 4 starts. It's been a pretty concerning trend for him. Thoughts on Castillo heading into the start? That doesn't seem like a good mix, all those home runs and then Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, don't give up home runs.
Yeah.
Like, that seems pretty easy to say. It's always tough because not every home run is created equal. And certainly there's a lot of junk home runs that are hit in that junk of a ballpark. But we'll see what he can do. He's got to stay out of the middle of the plate. For the last few times out, Castillo has had really good stuff at times, and then he'll just have an inning where everything is down the middle. And it's something that he has to fix. Castillo doesn't need incredible command to get guys out. He doesn't have to, live off the edges of the plate. He can be in the middle-ish of the plate. He just can't be dead red, central when he makes a mistake. So we'll see what they can do again. It is a down lineup. You're not going to have Jordan. You're obviously not going to have Altuve. But Kyle Tucker can certainly provide damage. Obviously, Alex Bregman with that short porch. Same with Jeremy Pena. Even the cheater Chas McCormick, can take advantage of that short porch out there. So, you got to stay out of the middle of the plate. You hope you're getting the Luis Castillo you saw from the last 3 innings against Tampa. But you really don't know right now. Castillo has to be more consistent. It's a big game. You're going up against a rookie, one who's having a really good year, and Hunter Brown. But man, if you can win tomorrow, you're kind of playing with house money a little bit because now you've clinched a winning road trip, which is what we wanted in the first place. But then you only have to split one of the 2 games against Framber or Blylack to win a series and go into the break with some serious momentum. So it's kind of tough to envision them winning that Framber start, but you never know how those things go. But tomorrow's game, pretty important, but it's good to win the first one. You can kind of set yourself up for the next couple after you win the first one. So we'll see what they can do. But Castillo, he's got to be more consistent. It really is that simple. And when he misses, he can't miss down the middle of the plate.
Don't look now, but the Mariners are only 7 back in the AL West. Picked up another game on the Rangers, who lost again. This time to the Boston Red Sox tonight. Gave up a lot of runs to the Red Sox. Last time I checked, it was 10-6. I don't know if that was the final score or not.
You're telling me the historically good pitching and the historically good numbers with runners in scoring position for the first 50 games didn't translate
last.
to the next 30.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Crazy, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
They spent their way to be the best team in baseball, Ty. It was very clear this was going to last all year.
They're
This
so good.
was the best offense ever.
Yeah.
We crowned them the best offense ever in Major League history.
Yeah, Leody Taveras was like a MVP candidate, Adolis Garcia is like suddenly a 300 hitter. I don't know if that was actually a thing. But he was having a really good start to the year.
Yeah,
but
yeah, the Rangers still good. Still a good team. But
point still stands though. Like a lot of stuff that shouldn't have been happening was happening during those first 50 games. So
and that happens, even it happens with good teams and it happens with bad teams. But Texas clearly, obviously, they're a good team. They're probably going to make the playoffs. But am I surprised at all that they've fallen back to the pack a little bit over the last month or two, or really the last 35 games? No, I'm not. But obviously, you're still 7 back, so don't have a lot of room to talk. But hey, you know what? The Texas Rangers aren't filthy cheaters like you Astros.
Good point. The Mariners also picked up a game on the Yankees. I don't know if they picked up a game on anyone else, but the Yankees were the
Astros.
Yeah. But the Yankees are, I believe, still the third wild card team in the AL. So picked up a game on that spot. So I believe they're now 4 back of the third wild card with a few teams to leapfrog, but it's still early. Again, look, I asked a while ago, could you get to like 5 back in the West by the All-Star break? That's probably not going to happen, but I'll take 7 or 6. Like that's within reach. That's possible.
Sure. I mean, just keep winning and the standings will take care of themselves. Yeah. So you have a shot here to to really do some damage. If you win 2 of the next 3 as you go into the break, the entire narrative of your season shifts because now you're a team that's catching momentum at the right time, and instead of a team that's limping into the All-Star break. And that is where the Mariners came very close to being. I don't think people are, giving enough importance to that win they had on Saturday against Tampa Bay. Because if you lose that one, you're sliding at that point and you're going into the stretch. You don't have any momentum. The vibes are down and all that stuff. And the fan base is kind of out of it. Like bouncing back after that huge loss where you just kind of imploded. It's massive. And now they have a shot to, take 2 from Tampa, take 2 from San Francisco, and take 2, 3, or maybe even 4 from the Houston Astros. And that would be quite a way to finish off the first half of this year.
Well, and tonight, you talk about bouncing back. I mean, we talked about this, that this team has oftentimes taken, 1 or 2 steps forward and then like 3 or 4 steps back. And you lose a really weird game last night. You obviously could score. Just a lot of frustrating stuff happening in that game. Yeah, just terrible defense in the outfield, particularly. But to come back tonight, have a nice, convincing win, stop the bleeding, don't let it snowball into anything bigger. That was really, really important. That's not something we've seen often from this team, and so hopefully that mentality continues and their ability to do that even when they do have these little bumps in the road continues. So yeah, good stuff all around. All right, unless you have anything to add, I think that's going to do it for us for tonight.
No, not really. Just, I don't know if you saw it, but this morning Morosi linked the Mariners and the Cardinals again. Young pitching for offense type of deal. The only new bit of information is that apparently the Mariners have told teams everywhere that George Kirby is not available.
Yeah.
Did they say the same about Logan Gilbert? It wasn't mentioned. Maybe not, but I have a hard time imagining that Seattle is going to trade from its starting rotation in season to go get the bat. So.
The only guy that I could see potentially is Brian Wu, only because you're going to take him out of the rotation anyway. Yeah, anyway. So,
yeah.
But again, you trade Miller, you trade Gilbert, you trade Kirby, you trade any of those guys. Now you have an even greater hole to fill because starting pitching is even harder to address than really any bat that you could potentially get, say for, a few guys, right? So,
I mean, even with Woo, I think the only guys I would trade Woo for on that Cardinals team, just
New Bar,
because no,
not even New Bar.
No.
Wow.
Nope.
Who?
Jordan Walker.
Okay.
Maybe Gorman, although I am sensing that I am the low man on Gorman in Mariners Twitter sphere. He's not a second baseman. Can we stop pretending like he is? But yeah, no, I think somebody like that. I mean, if they did trade Woo for Nootbaar, I wouldn't be like mad, but I wouldn't do it. I think Woo is. I might value.
They would
Woo more than
obviously
Miller.
be getting Nootbaar to attract Ohtani in free agency because they were teammates.
That's one of the
in
other stupid things I've seen. Yeah. If you guys, if you think about it this way, if you trade Brian Woo for Lars Nootbaar, then Ohtani's going to sign here for only like $75 million.
So essentially, you're trading Brian Woo for Lars Nootbaar and Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, because that's the kind of logic that some Mariner fans are working with. But yeah, I get it. Dream big, but also dream smart. So yeah, we'll see if anything happens there. I also saw a report today that the Mariners are pretty aggressively talking to multiple AL and NL Central teams, as well as a couple of NL West teams. So does that narrow it down? No, because that's half the league. But just what I'm seeing.
That's a lot of teams. Yeah,
that is 15 teams right there. So yeah, did it narrow it down any? No, not at all. But we're getting to that time where every little thing is going to be important. Every little thing is going to get reported, and 95% of it
is going to be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right?
Yes. It's a good song to play after the Mariners lose. Yeah, we're just to the point now where we're going to get little rumors like that, and 95% of them are BS. You can toss them in the trash. Just remember that. Of course, we'll react to them because that's our job, but just 95% chance. Yeah, I mean 95% chance that what you're hearing is just not the case.
A lot of chatter.
Yeah, if we ever get Jerry back on, although I think you probably burned that bridge.
How? What did I do?
We'll let the viewers decide. If we ever get Jerry back on, I would be interested to ask him like in terms of baseball terms, like how many trades start in the batter's box and actually round the bases and get done. You know what I mean? Like how many times do you pick up the phone and say, what about this guy? How many times does that deal get done? Because I think, John Schneider, the GM for the Seahawks, if you guys don't know, he once said that 98% of all deals they start never finish. They don't get done. And I'm just curious how that is in baseball. Is it, how many deals get, tossed?
How many times are you like, hey, what do you think about this guy? And they're like, yeah.
Let's talk about first of all, that one. But how many times do you even get to exchanging names? How often does that happen? It's probably not a lot. I bet the number's lower than even we think, but I'd be interested to know. But yeah, it is trade season, so we'll keep an eye on that, obviously, for you guys. And yeah, we'll do more traded days and stuff like that as we get closer. But yeah, just again, just more rumblings about a Cardinals bat for Mariners arm, which I just honestly I don't see it, but we'll see.
Post-game show tomorrow. You working?
No, but I don't know. Don't love doing post-game shows this late at night.
True, but they do so well, and our listeners love them. Colby,
do they?
We're all about our listeners, right? They're the most important people here, not you.
Sure, it's because the listeners want them, not for other reasons. But okay, sure. All right, get us out of here, Ty. Let's not tempt fate any longer.
Yeah. Let's not dare.
We are tempting fate. Let's go.
All right. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Colby Patnode. I'm Trident Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dan Gonzalez, that's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well over at Locked On Mariners. That's one word, Locked On Mariners. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. Thank you again for making us your first listen. Again, you can catch the Mariners and the Astros tomorrow night on the Mariners hometown broadcast, SiriusXM via the SXM app. Have yourself a beautiful baseball night. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.